Hi, it's Ellen Violette here, and I'm sorry I'm like a minute late or so because I couldn't find my phone, so I apologize. So today I want to talk about, and I've had vertigo, so if I look a little disheveled today, it's not my normal look, but I thought it was more important to get this to you than to worry about how I was looking today. So what I want to talk about is, hi Beth. I want to talk about the process that I go through when I walk people through my Crushing Kindle call. And the reason that I want to share this is because these really are the secrets to what you have to do on Amazon in order to have the potential to make your book a bestseller. Okay, like if you don't look at all these parameters, then you're most likely going to leave money on the table, and you're also not going to get as much visibility as you should. So there are like 7 areas that I look at and things that I do when I want to make a book a bestseller. So what I do is I'm looking for the keywords. I mean, that's the first thing, because you're not going to find anything else if you don't have the right keywords. Okay, so keywords are the first thing. And basically I start just by looking at, if somebody was looking for your topic, what words would they be looking up? And that's the first thing. And then from there, I start to niche down into which ones make the most sense for your particular book. And you want to find words that are not so general that it's really way bigger than what you're actually looking for. Okay, so that's number 1. And number 2 is I'm looking at the keywords. I'm looking at the categories and the ranking. So we want to figure out what's the best place to put your book. So Amazon gives you 2 keywords. I'm a little out of sorts here. No. 2 categories and 7 keywords. Okay, hi Sue, hi Donna. So we're looking for which ones are the best ones. And for me, that's a combination. You look at the rankings, and I look to see how competitive those fields are and where I feel we can get enough visibility, but also where we can still get to number 1. So if you go in a category where the rankings are really high, what's going to happen is it's easy to get to number 1, but not that many people are going to see it because nobody's looking there. So it's always a balancing act between getting in front of enough eyeballs where it makes sense, but not so many that you can't get to number 1 because, maybe somebody's number 1 who's like a New York Times bestseller, like a Deepak Chopra, or, Bill Clinton just wrote that book with, Patterson, whatever, depending on what your category is, Susie Orman, those kind of people. So you have to find somewhere where you can compete. And so that's the other thing. And then the other things that I'm looking at are what's already been done, because you don't want to write a book that is a clone of what's already out there. Okay, because then what happens is that if it's your book and you're, not very well known versus somebody else who is well known, what's going to happen is they're going to go to that book. And sometimes what happens when I'm working with clients, like I had a client who was a chiropractor, and he'd written a book, and there was another book that sounded exactly like his book. And I said, well, this sounds like your book. And he said, oh, well, he's the go-to guy, but my book is nothing like that. My book has exercises and a system, and it's totally different. And I said, well, but I wouldn't know that from your description. So when I'm looking for what's been done, I'm thinking about what's my title and subtitle going to be for my book, and how is it going to be different? First of all, what is different about my book? And then how do I explain what's different about my book so that people get that it's different than the other people's books? Okay, so that's what's really important. And, I hope as I'm going through these that if you have an aha moment that you'll comment, tell me what you really liked about what I'm saying, because that's always good to know. Oh, hi, is that Mary? So what's been done? Who's the competition? And then how is yours different from theirs? And then, once I've got that information, I'm also looking at kind of like, what words are other people using? Are there certain things that show up over and over? Just different things that what I then do, and I call this my palette. It's like being an artist and you have a palette of colors. I always feel like I have a palette of words. Oh, hi, Janine. Nice to see you. Dove, hi. So I take that palette of words, and then that's what I play with to help my clients come up with these, titles that are going to be different from everybody else's, that are going to be explanatory as far as what people are going to be, what's the word I'm looking for, what they're going to be attracted to, and what's going to hit them emotionally. Because one of the things I see people do so much, I just did one earlier today, and what most authors do is in their subtitle, they'll really start talking about what the features of it. And the features of it can be really dry and boring, I hate to say, but it's true. And we don't want that. So what we want to do is we want to explain it in the subtitle, but while we're doing that, we also want to be connecting emotionally. And one of the reasons that I have a 100% success rate doing this with my clients is that I come from the music business, and I started out as a lyricist. And what you do as a lyricist is you're always listening for hooks. Okay, that's what it is. When you get a song in your brain and you can't get it out of your brain, what are you singing? You're singing that hook, and you're singing it over and over. So that's kind of how I've been trained, and one of my natural gifts is just to be able to do that, to be able to hook onto that thing. So to recap, what I'm saying is that to hack Amazon, you've got to have a great title and subtitle. The title has to capture people's attention. The subtitle has to explain it and give the benefit, not the features. Okay. Obviously covers are important too, but I don't look so much at covers other than to say, you don't want to do a cover that's exactly like all the other covers that are there, but I have a great team and all the covers are great, and they're all different. But so that's important. But what's been done, who the competition is, how you're different, how you convey how you're different, whether there are any bestsellers in that category or not already, because that tells you that it's selling. So, when you see a category, like sometimes there'll be categories and you've got maybe, 5 books in there under that keyword or something. That means nobody's interested. Okay? So what happens is people will say to me something like, oh, I've got this great idea and nobody's doing this. And I'm like, well, nobody's doing it for a reason. There's a reason nobody's doing that. Because at this point, there are millions of books on Amazon. And, everything under the sun in some way is already there. And so if you're doing something that's so new, then it's going to be difficult to sell if you have to spend so much time explaining it to people. At the same time, you do want to be doing something new within topics that people already get. Okay, but if you come up with something that's so out there that they can't even understand what it is, they're not going to be interested in doing it. So as I said, then keywords and categories. Oh, and I skipped, and also Kindle descriptions. So, you can also look at Kindle descriptions from books that are in your niche. I always prefer to look at ones that are in the niche and the ones that are doing well, and then see how they structured it. And of course, you don't want to steal their copy, but you can certainly model copy. And there are certain elements that you want to be able to include. And so that's it. So it's the title, the subtitle, who the competition is, what's already been done, how you're different, whether their book's selling in that keyword already, keywords and categories. You want to find a ranking that's balanced between a lot of competition, no competition, and where you figure you can get to number 1. And when you say, well, how do I know if I can get to number 1 or not? It's really about your marketing, how you market your books. One of our secrets to getting it to number 1 is I have a team, and so we know all the best places to put it in, and we do that for our clients. And I also have clients who do my home study courses and then just have us do the back end to get it in all the right places. So there are different ways to go. And then, so where you're going to put it. And then, as I said, keywords, categories, ranking, and the Kindle description, and that's it. So those are the things that I look at when I do my Crushing Kindle Marketing and Visibility Study. And it's the first thing that I have my clients and students do, whether they're taking a workshop from me or working with me independently. And that's because that sets up your foundation so that you now know that you have the potential to be number one, because we've looked at the data and we've seen that you can do it. And then from there, I can show you how to do it. So for anybody who's interested in learning more about the process, I do have a workshop coming up. I haven't given it for 3 years, but I'm giving it this year again. I'm really excited about that in October. And so I did an hour webinar training, and that was on the 7 biggest mistakes authors make writing a book and how to avoid them. And you can watch the replay of it. It's at www.3dayebookworkshop.com/7 mistakes replay, and I'll put it in the comments. But it's 3dayebookworkshop.com/7 mistakes replay, and then you can learn more about this one was what I'm talking about right now is hacking it. When I talk about on there are the mistakes that people make, but they kind of go together. So that's it. So I hope you'll check it out if you're interested in learning more, and then if you decide you want to take the workshop, great. If you don't, you're welcome to use everything that I'm sharing. And I hope that you'll leave your comments and your takeaways, and thanks for watching. That's it for today. Bye-bye.